Hi and welcome to another one of the Tech Geeks videos. All right, we get so many questions asked about Starlink that we thought the best thing to do was to get our own setup, set it up here as an example, show you some of the bits here. Look, this is not meant to be a big technical overview because there are plenty of people out there that know way more than I do and the stuff here about Starlink. We're more interested in showing you the basics and then how you can use what you've got here to extend the Wi-Fi in your property or maybe to another building or even out to your watering holes, your boreholes or anything else like that. So many of you probably have been sent your lovely big Starlink box, maybe not in quite as good condition as that. I know that some people have had these received pretty bashed up and everything. Also, for many of you, you'll know that you don't often receive a new one of these now. Mine was definitely refurbed, it was dirty on the back and everything else, so I just cleaned it up, but it doesn't stop the functionality of it. But what we want to just show you is the key components that you need, firstly to get this set up, and then how to make a few changes so that you can then add on other vendors' equipment. Just a quick overview, what is Starlink? All right, so when I started maybe 25 years ago, we used to do satellite installations, you know, a 2-meter dish, you needed a lining tool, line it up to only 1 or 2 different satellites. You maybe would get 5 or 8 megasecond download speed. You'd need to use your normal modem at 64K to get an upload, just down a normal route, like over the internet in a normal way. Now we have moved to the point where Starlink has thousands of satellites in low orbit around the world, all right, and each one of those can give internet access for a specific area of the planet below it, which is really, really exciting because we can see speeds of hundreds of megasecond from this. They can be used on the top of recreation vehicles. You can be top of your homestead, out on your farm, watching crops, wherever you can think about finding internet connectivity. All right, now a new world has opened up. All right, so your request for your web page or whatever you're going to is going to leave this dish that's going to be lined up to one of the closest satellites. It's going to head up, hit that satellite. That satellite is going to bounce it back down to a ground station. So here in Australia, in each state, there's at least one ground station. That ground station then carries it over normal fiber connections to the rest of its destination. All right, so really what we're doing is we're using the satellite for the shortest amount of time possible. Now, you don't get much in the box. There isn't a need for much. You're going to get your dish, all right, you're going to get your router, all right, and you're going to get essentially some cables, about 29 meters I think it is of cable, all right, and your power cable. That is really all you need. Now, we're not going to help you install this, but what you really want to do is go to the website Installers Near Me, all right, and they have a list of installers across Australia that have got cable certifications. They can mount this up on the right place, pointing in the right direction for you. And if you buy other equipment from us or work with them, we work for many installers across Australia, they can also mount that additional wireless equipment at the same time. So, all right, we've got all this basics here. This is already pointing roughly in a southerly direction. We thought by doing this outside, we could at least deconstruct some of it so you could really see all the different components. So our first thing that we're going to do is obviously connect up our dish to our modem. So this dish needs to have been mounted south facing somewhere on the outside of your property. All right, and from it you're going to have a cable like this. It's going to have come through the wall, down a pole, maybe it's been mounted on your roof. All right, and that's going to get put firstly into the back of our wireless router here. So you'll see in the bottom here there are only 2 connections, all right, power and the connection to the dish. There's no Ethernet or anything like that. This is on the rectangular one that I have. The older circle ones, I believe, did have an Ethernet on the modem that came with it. But later on, we'll talk about what we need to do to extend this so that we can bring this out to an Ethernet port, and then that opens up a whole new world of opportunities for us. So I'm going to plug in now my dish to my router, all right, and I'm going to plug in my mains to the router now as well. All right, so if you've not already downloaded the Starlink app, then I would suggest that you do that ahead and ready to go, because that's where we're going to control all of the features from. So now we're all ready. What we're going to do is we are going to plug this into the mains and let this start up. Now, many people go, my router doesn't work. All right, this sort of looks like it should have some lights showing here, maybe when it's doing something linked with a few satellites, but it literally does nothing. All there is a tiny little white light between these two cables here that shows you that the modem is online. So look for that little white light. That is the only hope you're going to get. So now, what you want to do is you want to find your wireless connection. If you've got this out of the box, refurbed, or new, you may find a wireless connection called Stinky. So you want to connect to that first. You can change that name obviously later on. In my example here, I've already renamed it to Starlink Test. All right, so you want to join that and then start up your Starlink app, and it'll probably show you what it's doing. It'll maybe show you that it's searching or it's booting, and in a moment this is probably going to start changing location. Here we go. It's now going to start locating the closest satellites. I often find that this takes 4 or 5 minutes to truly get itself the best location. Just to help you understand, this subscription here I have is the RV, so the portable version is deprioritized, so during the daytime we don't get superb speeds, but obviously you can get several hundred megasecond on these depending on your location. So we're going to let that settle. While that's settling, all right, that is really all there is to this. The router isn't too bad, all right, it's just wireless. It will do 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. It's only a wireless 5 router, but since you're only going to get about 300 meg tops out of Starlink, and since Wi-Fi 5 will give you over 600, maybe 1,000 megasecond, all right, probably will do you. The problem you have with it is more how to extend it a bit further around your property, so we're going to help you with that. Mine now says that it's online. So I'm just going to jump into the app here and do a speed test. Our first speed test is going to sort of be a combination of our speed to the router and our speed to the dish itself. What I'm really interested later on is going to the advanced settings, because that's just going to check my speed from my phone to the router, and then from the router to the Starlink satellite constellation and back down again. So this has almost run the whole route. We'll just let that finish. I'm now going to click on the bottom and say run advanced test. This is now going to run our advanced test. Sometimes I've seen that this does realign itself. The dish, we're a little bit later now in the afternoon, so the location has probably changed very slightly. All right, there we can see we're getting a pretty good speed on our download, and we can see in a moment when it goes over to that Wi-Fi speed test that we're getting a fairly good connection here to our router as well. So that really is our starting point. All right, we've taken this, we've gone to the installers near me website, and we've got one of those guys to come out, fit this securely, run the cable down. There we go, it's lining itself again. Here we go, properly finding where lining itself up. They've lined it up, they've run a cable down from your roof through, and they've put one of these in your property. All right, so what is the next thing that we want to do? Before we get on to all of those bits that we want to be able to do with it, we need to have got ourselves the Ethernet adapter, all right? If you've not already bought this, you need to hop on the Starlink shop and purchase this. It's only about $60, but this is going to go in line, all right? And it's going to allow us to come out to an Ethernet port. That's allow us to take us to a switch and going to give us a whole more open world to the features and options that we can add to this. All right, so what we're going to now do is just going to go in the app, all right, and we are going to move to settings. In settings, we've got some advanced options that we can choose, and in those advanced options there you will see it gives you the ability to put this back into pass-through mode that you can see there. So when we've put this in place, and maybe we've got a brand new router, then we're going to put this into pass-through. You can't do this if you're just going to connect a wireless access point, because this is giving out your wireless connection. So this is the bit that still needs to be in line to make it all work. It's only going to work if you've got another router on here, because currently this is giving out your IP addresses. So once you are ready, you've got your new router in there, maybe it be a Ruijie, maybe it be an Asus or a TP-Link, then you could put this in pass-through mode, and this is becoming fairly dumb at this point. It's not giving out IP addresses. If you want to, and you're quite happy just to leave this wireless running for your peace of mind, then you can still put your new router in. all right, just connect it to the Ethernet port on here, and just remember that anything that's plugged into that is still going to be controlled by this router. But the great thing is that it's actually also the IP addresses, but most of it is being run still through your new piece of equipment. But I really would suggest that you do change it and put a different router in. All right, if you're not using this, and some of the common things that people need to do is to be able to stow this, which means we need to be able to change something. So we're going to do this, so we're going to change the Ethernet cable. So we're just going to hit the word stow. It's going to ask us, do we want to stow it? All right, it's basically going to pack this away ready to be moved. And then we can disconnect it and put in our Ethernet cable. So like I said, we maybe want to, if you want to just keep this router, the router is going to be great for you. But if you want to extend it further, then we need to put our Ethernet adapter in line. So once we put this into stowed mode, we're just going to disconnect our power from here. And we're then going to take out our cable that's come down from our roof or wherever it's been mounted. And this is going to connect into this side of the Ethernet adapter. All right, and this gives us the ability just to extend on. And then we're just going to switch over to the back here and plug this here now into our router. All right, and we should now be able to power everything back up again and give it a few minutes. So now we have the ability to connect this to a network switch. All right, and if we just connect that to a network switch, this router is going to give out all of our IP addresses, and this is going to provide us the wireless. We could put another wireless product on here, and we could allow it to give out IP addresses. All of that's going to be just fine. But what you probably really want to do is plug this into a new router, all right, and build your network from there. Use the app like I've shown you to change this into bypass mode. You're still going to need to leave this on, but it's not going to be actually doing anything. So to use any of the other features we're going to show you shortly about how to extend your Wi-Fi across your property, you really need this Ethernet adapter, and really probably need a router. Unless this is doing well for you, still keep this for wireless in your property, and then you can come out to a switch and allow you to connect this to another building or something like that. You can see it's now realigning itself after we put power back in. All right, but hopefully that gives you a rundown of all the components that you get, how you need to basically put those together ready to use it. But hopefully the key takeaway before you head on to one of the next segments is really you need this adapter, and we're going to show you from there how to set it up in a way that will work to either increase the wireless connectivity in your main property, or how to extend it out to other properties. So here you say, oh, come on Paul, come on, let's get to the chase. I've already got my Ethernet adapter, I've got it all plugged in, I am ready to go. Just tell me how to extend my Wi-Fi to another property. All right, so we're going to be doing this with two Ruijie devices. We're going to be using the EST350. We love these. They've got a little bit of better power. They've got an option there for high performance mode that you need to switch to. With high performance mode, even at a kilometer, you're going to get a good 500 megaseconds. So brilliant little devices. If maybe your Starlink is only running at less than 100, then you could just go for the EST310s if you wanted to as another option. So we're just assuming that you're just sticking with the Starlink router, all right, and now you're just wanting to extend the wireless to another property. We've got our Ethernet adapter already plugged in. So what we need to do is we need to take one of our extenders, one of our bridges, like I said, the EST310, and set this up. The great thing is these already come paired out of the box, so these are all ready to talk to each other. Even if you didn't do the process I'm going through, you could just stick these up on the wall and they will work. All right, they have two markings, one on each. One says recorder, one says camera. The idea is these were really developed to allow people to extend their CCTV surveillance. All right, so the recorder end is the end that you're going to have where your Starlink router is, and your camera end is going to be your remote. And these are PoE powered. They use 24 volts, so they won't power off a normal PoE switch. All right, so to start with, our first thing we're going to do is we want to add these to the Ruijie Cloud control panel. So if you've not already done so, hop onto Ruijie Cloud, create yourself an account, and then get the app onto your mobile phone, and we're going to walk that through in a moment. So the first thing we're going to do is we want to grab our PoE injectors. They were in the box. They might look slightly different to this, but PoE, if you're not really sure what PoE is, it takes mains power takes LAN, which is where your data is, in this instance from your Starlink mesh router, and joins both of those together into one cable. It means that your cable can be up to 100 meters. We're going to mount it up on our amazing pole here. Imagine that we've got this outside. I'm also showing you here, we've already got our Starlink set up. You've maybe gone to the installers near me webpage and you've got yourself an installer lined up. They could come and do your Starlink dish and put all this equipment up at the same time. So that bridge device can be up to 100 meters away from your main power source. So we're going to generally do this right by our Starlink router altogether. So we're going to grab ourselves a short length of network cable and we're going to plug that in here to our Ethernet adapter. Remember, that's already plugged into our Starlink as we showed you. And this side here is going to plug into our LAN port of our PoE injector. All right, so now we've extended our Starlink connection to this little box. We want to now join in the mains power. So we're going to grab our little mains cable, grab this onto the other side and plug that in. All right, and then let's just go on over and plug that into the mains. So now we've taken our data from our Starlink, mains from our mains, right? Probably got a little light showing on there, won't show in the sunshine now. And now we can run out to our first device. I suggest you set this up like I'm doing now on a bench and then put it out to your final location when you are ready. I'm just going to grab here a 10 meter length pre-made cable. So this, you could have this as long as you need, up to 100 meters, like I said before. So I'm just going to use a 10 meter cable, which will run out here. But for our testing, this is good as well. So I'm just going to plug that into the Ethernet port on here. All right, and we're going to take our recorder end. So we're just going to pop off the bottom there, open that up, take that out. All right, and we're going to use the port labeled LAN1 PoE, and we're just going to plug this in. Now, these do have a 12 volt in, which is really cool. So if you don't want to power these via PoE, or at your remote end you've just got solar, then these do take 12 volts. You can just wire these straight into your solar batteries if it's doing 12 volts, and you will be good to go. As this starts to power up, you're going to set lights appear on the side here to show you what's happening. So what have we got? We've got our mesh router, we've got our injector connected to our first device. So remember what I said, you're going to grab your phone now. Can do this on a computer if you want to. You grab your phone, show you how to do this as I do it. All right, you're going to grab your phone, you're going to find the Ruijie app. You are going to log in and go to your project. You're going to click in the bottom left hand corner where it says tools, click on tools and then add device, and it's going to bring your camera up for you. Need you to basically pick this device up, and you can scan now the barcode on the back of the device, all right, and choose enter project. This will now allow this device to connect back to the Ruijie cloud through your Starlink connection, and hopefully within a few minutes you'll actually see that in your app as online. All right, that's our first bit you can do. Now later on you can come back and change the labels and any other settings that you want in there. Call it, I like to label these up. If this is going into house end and then we're going to put one at the shed end, I'll maybe label this as house to shed, and then when I put the other one up, I'll label it shed to house. So when I look at it in the control panel, I can see everything easily. All right, so once it's on there, as you can see, and it's in, all right, we're now going to add the other device. So let's repeat that process. So we've allowed this, it might want a firmware update, we'll allow it to do anything that it tells you to do till we see it as online. All right, we can now unplug this, all right, and take our second device here, all right, and we can now plug this in. All right, all we're doing is really just getting these into the controller for us so that everything is set up and ready to go. So let's just plug that in there now. So repeat the process. Just give that a couple of minutes to start up. Go into our app, go into the project, choose tools, add device, scan the barcode. I'm just going to now give that a few minutes to start up. Should show in our control panel, and everything then we can work on in a few moments, where we'll later turn this on to high performance mode. So essentially we have already done everything that we need to do to add these to the cloud and be ready to go and fit them. Now let me just talk about a few options that you do have at this moment in time. So we've obviously just used the same cable to do both of these, which was great, and that was easy. All right, but you may have already decided that you want to improve the wireless in your local house as well. All right, so maybe into the setup we could just quickly add a network switch just to show you how that may have been set up differently. So we'll use a Ruijie ES205, a little 5-port PoE switch. Remember, this is going to power our access points. It won't power these devices. They still need their PoE injectors. So let's take that. We're going to add that in with its power pack and power here. Same process that we've done. So we're now just taking the option. We're going to still keep with the Starlink router. We have done some other videos on how to change the Starlink router completely, but I'm just assuming you're going to keep this, and you maybe just want to put another access point further down your property. So you will need to take a switch. So we're just going to put our power into our power pack here. There we go. Work out which way around it goes. There we go. Let's go on over there, plug it into our mains power bar there. All right, and power it on. Okay, now we just want to do a slight change. Whereas before we had our short cable coming from our adapter, our Ethernet adapter, into our PoE injector, we'll just take that short cable out. And in this instance, we're going to plug it into port 5 of our switch there. That's now given this switch connectivity to Starlink. So again, we're going to grab our app. All right, we are going to go into there, our project, go down to tools there, add device, all right, and again, scan the barcode. Going to give that a few minutes. It probably will take about 4 or 5 minutes for that to appear in the control panel. So do wait till it shows us online. All right, but while that's happening, we've now got this switch which will allow us to actually plug all of our devices together. So we can take another short cable, and that short cable can now go back into the LAN port of our PoE injector. All right, so we still need our PoE injector, and this is all happening near the mesh setup there. And we're going to plug that into port 1. All right, this now is getting ourselves running. So remember, this one's actually my recorder end. All right, but I can now repeat this process, and I can actually have both of these on at the same time if I wanted to configure it that way. So if you bought a switch, you don't have to do that stage that I just did a few minutes ago of separately doing them. You could plug them both into this switch. But now let's just assume we want to put a little bit of better wireless down the other end of our house. All right, so the simplest thing that we're going to do is just take another wireless access point. This is a RAP2200 access point, a Ruijie one. So we can just grab that out of the box. These are designed to be mounted on the ceiling or on a wall. Just imagine the signal comes out from it like this, not a lot behind. So if we were to put it on a tabletop, anything below it's probably not going to get great Wi-Fi coverage. Stuff above it as it balloons out will. So the best place is probably on a wall or facing down like this. Again, it's got a barcode on the back. These are PoE powered. So since we've got a switch here that does PoE, maybe I can just grab another 10-meter cable here. All right, and this 10-meter cable is taking me down about 10 meters down the house. Because you'll find on this Starlink router, once you get to about 10 or 12 meters away from it, depending on the makeup of your walls, that it will probably losing its signal. So we want to boost that. And if you can run a cable, this is the best way to do it. If you're wanting other options, there is another video that we've done on how to expand it further. So we can take one of this cable and plug it into our switch down there. And we can take our other end and plug it in to our access point. Again, this will start have a flashing light on it. Let's grab our phone again. We're going to start up that mobile app. We are going to go to tools, add device, scan the barcode on the back. All right, and that's now added to our portal. All right, that bit's fairly simple. If you wanted to keep your wireless and do some other stuff with it, you can set up your SSID in there. Just show you where that is. All right, so which is your network name, so you can add that and set up the password. So that hopefully gives you another idea of what you can do in your house. But what about maybe we still want to extend it outside as well? We've got another property, but we want to give ourselves wireless access outside. So in a moment, we'll finish off setting up this bridge, but maybe we want to go outside. Sticking with this theme, This is the RAP2200 Omni outside wireless 6-axis point from Ruijie. So again, like we've done before, we could take a nice long cable. This is probably going to be best mounted up by your Starlink dish. All right, so you could pop that up there, can give you probably a couple of acres of coverage outside. So a nice cable is going to run all the way back again to our switch. So that's giving you just an extra benefit of what you could do inside your house. Add in some extra access points, give yourself an outside access point. Probably need an installer to help you get these physically mounted. So go to the Installers Near Me website to get that, get the help that you need there. So let's carry on with our config. So we're going to take, this was the last one we set up, which was our recorder end. So I'm just going to disconnect this end now. All right, I've run my cable out now, probably up to where your Starlink dish is, but it needs to have a clear line of sight. So everything that we've done for this will cover several kilometers, but it can't have trees in the way or can't have many trees in the way. It certainly can't have buildings and any hills or anything like that. So if you're unsure, we can help you figure out on your requirements to make sure that this can work. There are alternatives around it. So we're assuming we're getting this high enough and it's pointing in the right direction. It has about a 60-degree field of signal and about 30-degree this way. So we don't have to be super accurate, but the more lined up this is, the faster the connection will be. As we get to the edges, if we're a bit sloppy on our lining up, we will have a few issues. So we're going to pop this out onto our pole and point it to our second building. This is our house. We've deconstructed it, so this is our main house, like we said, with our Starlink, and then we've got a granny flat over the other end there that we're going to show you this all linked together. We're going to take this recorder end and it's now ready to be mounted up. Now if you are doing this yourself, then can I recommend that you have something called a drip loop. So when we've actually plugged this in to our device here, we want to make sure that our cable, however it's come through the wall or however it's mounted, has a loop like this at the bottom. This reason means that as moisture gathers on the front and it drips down here or travels down here, it will drip off on the bottom. All right, it will stop it traveling down this cable. If you've got this on a roof and you're going to come back through the tiles, make sure it goes past them and then back up so that you get runoff down. But do get a professional installer if you're not unsure, and they'll make sure it's fitted correctly for you. All right, so I'm just going to quickly put this together. We have a little knuckle joint here that allows us to give some flexibility. I'm going to just put this up with cable ties, which is not what you need to do for a long term. There are some metal brackets in the box that you get as well. And then this needs to be pointed roughly in the right direction. You'll find on this model, you have plenty of play this way and this way that you can do with it. So it makes putting it in that location very easy. All right, so we've got our device mounted up there. It's pointing in the way of our imaginary granny flat. We've got our drip loop in there, so it's nicely up the pole. Moisture's running off it. We're not worried about that. All right, so we should now be able to see it's all connected together as we had down here. We should be able to see it online in our app. All right, and that's our first stage of what's actually happening. And then we can go over to our granny flat and we can repeat the process the opposite way round and hopefully show you how this all fits together at that end and how easy it is then to add wireless access at that point. So, welcome to our amazing granny flat, no expense spared at this end, so please do use your imagination. We've got the other end of our EST350 setup over there. All right, and we've got a cable coming all the way down here from our one that we've mounted up on our roof. Remember, clear line of sight, it's got to be pointed back so it can see the other device. No trees, can have a bit of foliage, no buildings in between that you can't see over the top of. All right, and no hill. All right, so how do we get this all powered up? Really simple. We're going to need our PoE injector. All right, our black one that we have, you've seen at the other end. We are going to plug in our this into our PoE port. We've got our power cable plugged in this side and plug this now into our power board. Okay, now we can give that a couple of minutes to power up. If we look at the side of the unit itself, we will actually see some of the lights coming on. So we can see the lights have now come on solid. We can hop into our app if we want to. pop into our Ruijie cloud, and we should now see our device showing there. We can go into our device. Can take a few more minutes sometimes for it to connect up with the Ruijie cloud, so do be patient. Once that's done, we want to be able to go into the section here of settings that will then allow us to change this to performance mode. The performance mode will increase the speed, and we'll now get the best link speed that we can. It will work out of the box. This is just an additional add-on to it. So there you go. We can see we've now gone in and we've been able to choose our settings. We can see here it's actually called high bandwidth mode. So we can switch it now onto high bandwidth. That will take a couple of moments for it to reset. But we can see at the moment it's got a connection of on here 360 megasecond between both access points. But if we give that a moment or so for it to resynchronize, we should see that synchronize at around about 700 or 800 megasecond, which in real terms should give you about 500 meg. And we have tested this to give 500 meg at 1 kilometer. All right, so now the fun begins, because we've got so many different options that we can choose of what we would like to do here in our granny flat. Maybe we just want to have a simple wireless, it's not a very big area, and we just want to put a little router in that's going to do everything. Then the EG105 that we've seen before from one of our other videos is a great option. All we need is a small Ethernet cable like this. This is going to go into the LAN port of our PoE injector. From the LAN port there of our PoE injector, it's going to plug into the WAN of our little router here. We're going to plug our mains pack in. All right, take our mains pack here, and we're going to plug that into our mains down here. Give that a few minutes to boot. And if you've already set up wireless at the other end, then you will find that very quickly it joins that wireless and you've got the same wireless settings. If you've not set up wireless at that end, then again, we need to go into our Ruijie app, just like we've done before, into our toolkit, choose add device. The code is on the bottom here, so let's just scan that. All right, now it's in, give it a few minutes to start, and then we'll be able to go into our wireless settings. Wireless settings, we can change our network name, which is called our SSID, and set up our password. And we've now got a small little access point in our granny flat. We've got 4 ports of Ethernet that we can use as well. Plug in an Xbox or a TV or other devices, an older computer or something else like that. So that's our first option. Now let's have a look at option 2. So option 2, we're back to how we had before, just our cable out to our other bridge device and our power. Now maybe what we want to do is we want to just add a decent access point. All right, remember these are going to be ceiling or wall mounted. If you've got it on a table, it's probably not so great. It's not going to give you much wireless coverage down there. All right, but we're going to take maybe a 10-meter cable, because you've got to mount that on the wall. We're going to plug this into our Ethernet port on here, just like we did at the other end. Grab our phone, start up our app, go to Toolbox, choose Add Device, scan, and add. All right, now we need to add in the other end so it can all be adopted. Becomes a little bit more interesting at this end. So let's take our first PoE injector, take our short length of cable, and we're going to plug that into our LAN. Now, at the moment we don't have a PoE switch, so we need to get power to this. So you'll need another PoE injector. It might look similar to this. So we're going to plug our power into this side and plug ourselves into power here on our power board. Now we can take our short length of cable that we've come from this PoE injector, all right, and plug it into the LAN port of this PoE injector. All right, getting a little bit fun. And then we could take the other end of our 10-meter cable that went out to our access point and plug that into our PoE. So essentially we're coming from our bridge device to the LAN port of this PoE injector, which is for our bridge. Then we're going to come to this device in the LAN port, and then the PoE port is going to take power out to our access point. That's going to flash green a few times, and it's going to join the wireless that you've already set up. If you haven't, again, you're going to go to wireless settings, set up your SSID and your password as you want it, and then that will be on the wall, off and going and ready for you. So that's the simplest. You don't need a switch. The other option 1's probably really good if you just want it simple. It's just a router, and it gives you a fairly good wireless coverage. Then we've got the last option, option 3. So option 3, let's reset everything that we had. All right, so we're going to basically take our LAN port connection out and just put that one out of the way. So we're back to our single PoE injector. This one means we're going to actually use a switch, because maybe we will need to run some cables outside. We want to have wireless inside at this place and outside, or maybe we want to have several access points because it's a bigger building. We can maybe use a small switch. We've shown this at the beginning of the video. All right, so this time we're going to take our small length of cable. We're going to come out of our LAN port here of our PoE adapter. All right, we're going to come in to our port 5 of here. Again, we're going to grab our phone. All right, we need to plug our power in, obviously, before I maybe show you that bit. So we're going to grab this, plug the other end into the power, this into here. We're going to grab our phone, going to go to Toolbox or Toolkit, Add Device. Let's scan the code. All right, and let's have that added. All right, so now we've extended it to a switch. Now that we've got our switch, we can add on anything. So let's, for instance, take our access point. Going to do exactly the same thing we did on the other end, but instead of plugging that end in, let me bring that up here, into our PoE injector, we can now just take that out and plug it directly into our switch. And now we can extend our network at this site for as many other connections as we want to. Maybe you wanted to go onto another bridge. So like I said, there are so many permutations on this, but it's a really super easy setup, just scanning that barcode and getting it going. So hopefully that's given you an idea. We've seen that we've got, you know, at least 500 megasecond between these two access points. We've seen how to set it up at the main house, how to add Wi-Fi at the main house as an addition if you want to, even for outside space, and then how at this remote location, so this is our granny flat or our imaginary granny flat, how to bring it in, and then how to add several different options, either just a simple router, add some a good access point, or to add a switch, so you can add a combination of both or multiple access points, or even go onto other bridges. So again, hopefully that has been a helpful way of showing you how to extend to another property using Ruijie devices.